I mourned you. I mourned like a screaming child. I wrapped myself in brown blankets and woke up drenched in sweat, when it wasn't enough to cry, when I had to drink myself into a drunken stupor, until my eyes changed color, that unfading yellow, as if my home were in a dust bowl, and I was too proud to leave. And then I went mad. I let the sleeves from my dress blow off my shoulders, as I ran half naked through a breeze. That night it would rain, and I would threaten to kill myself if it meant that I could sleep again, or that I could unfuck the men that had ruined me. The therapist recommended Mrs. Dalloway, where I read that madness is simply a loss of proportion. And in my case I felt, as I imagined Virginia Woolf concede, that this was certainly a disproportionate response to sudden pain, but at its core lay something frightening and far more challenging to repair. I was simply no longer a child, and the ground was not solid, and the Eastern Cape was barren and poor, and I didn't have a driver's license. To witness true poverty when you know what it is to live easily is something very hard to come to terms with. I felt in this moment so far away from you, so far below, and most incapable of reaching. I'm sure you weren't aware that I could grovel, that I could crawl beneath a can of worms and still curse myself for being unable to slide below the earth on my belly. You must have thought I was simply slender, the slim daughter of a rich man. The thought alone is enough to make you think that I am conceited. But I think of you instead of all the men who've lain on top of me, instead of being held down on my knees, wrist aching, where there was wetness and there was pain, instead of the short list of shame that has sampled my amplitude. I think of you who wanted nothing, not by force or labor. I had to puke the wine out of my belly, to fold my knees into my stomach to learn that there was something impure in the way I felt. There were needles in my arm. It dripped to save my liver, and being there, as I was, you did nothing. To do nothing. To fold one's arms and do nothing. To float in a swimming pool and cup your ears to hear the ocean. To dive into a body of water and rise as if to be reborn. To do nothing is to do a lot. What did you do when I was dying? Sometimes I think of him walking, away, down and into the subway. I think of him moving back for fear that I might kiss him. I worry sometimes that I repulse him, that somehow I've hurt him deeply, that there is a reason he recoils at my touch. Still I wonder whether he knows that I know that he's behaving this way because his penis is small. I didn't mind that it was small, but when we made love I felt nothing. Something of a strange irony. It felt good to feel nothing for a change. It beat the unending fall of feeling, the nagging fear of being let down. And how I miss him. His skin tone like fading gold, hands fisted on his knees, a sort of finished form designed to restore you. He looked a little like my brother, the one my father loves best. They are alike in many ways, my father and him. I must have a reason in order to speak with them. My father was the first man to break my heart. Men love in order of proximity. The children of his wife would be the ones he loved best. The rest is a kind of discipline. And I have grown to admire men of principle. They are distinct and they make progress. But through grace I've met a man who can pray. I know that may not mean much these days, but it tells me a lot about how he was raised. When I threw my insides out on the bathroom floor, he said that he was praying for me. He wanted me to be well, to relieve my fears of the future. I'm ill-equipped to deal with this world, I told him. My mother coddles me like a child. She says this thing inside me is dangerous. She is prepared to help at any cost. These days I run. I run in the late afternoons while I'm sheltered by suburban trees in the cool of the winter. I no longer worry what the sweat will do to my hair. It is gone now, and I ascend a hill, breathless, where I can taste the blood in my throat. Sometimes I imagine all the friends who've deserted me, watching me, rising above despite them. I picture my body in perfect form, riding the man that I love. I want to be good, I repeat in dissent. I want to be good and I want them back. Then I return to the scent of jasmine in my mother's garden and to the relief at the end of my run.